Shalom, brothers and sisters. So, lots happening in the world. Plenty. It's still coming hard and fast all the time. And if we're still watching and waiting, we can see everything heating up. I mean, there's even a Yahushua asteroid moving through Virgo at the moment, which is so symbolic. It's absolutely incredible. And that's taking place now at the same time as Hanukkah. There's the whole political situation in Israel where he has to finalize his government imminently, as fast as possible. All these things are converging at an incredible speed. Then this morning in California, a 6.4 quake, the most intense they say they've ever felt. The shaking felt in houses and homes all over that area. The USGS says the depth was at 10 miles, which is shallow, at 2:35 a.m. in the California Humboldt County, which, if I'm correct, is close to the San Andreas fault line, which takes me straight back to the disaster movie. And you know what I see in my head is when you're priming a machine to get it moving, you're switching on various parts of it and you're preparing everything and making sure everything's running normally before you overexert it or really get going. So picture all of these quakes, earthquakes, volcanoes, everything that are starting to push up and vibrate and move and come together are all being switched on and prepared for the 7-year tribulation that is about to begin, for the judgment that's coming, for everything that has been prepared for this final hour. And every time we feel something like this, a 6.4, and it's close to these major fault lines, they are preparing themselves for the big ones that are laid ahead in the next 7 years. It's going to be dramatic. Hollywood has no idea how bad this can get over the next 7 years, as much as they'd like to think that their imaginations can catch up with what has been prepared in judgment. Then next year, they say it's going to be even hotter than 2022, and I've discussed this a couple of times. The solar cycle is one of the hottest cycles they've ever seen, and it's heating up all the way into the 7-year period, and it'll reach its peak in the middle of this Shemitah cycle, the 11th cycle. And that is when you're looking at Revelation 16, where the earth is scorched. Men are scorched by the heat from the sun. And we can see that being prepared as it gets hotter and hotter all the time. It's not climate change, it's preparation for judgment. Same with the Euphrates River drying up. That's not climate change, that is preparation for judgment. It was foretold long before anyone made up the thing climate change. All of this is preparation for what lies ahead. So people, we can see the ticking and the changing in the very earth around us as the world prepares itself for its final days and what lies ahead. It is prepping for what's coming. And we should be taking note and seeing everything that's going on around us. If we go to the war situation, Belarus has positioned and prepared and readied their tank battalions all over the border with themselves and Ukraine and Poland, which has the Polish really stressed that they're even willing to train young children in how to handle weapons for what they know is coming, because they know something huge is coming in the new year and they want to be ready for it. Not that you can be ready for what's coming, but that's where they're at. And Belarus is now prepping and readying itself for what lies ahead. And then just interesting, on the whole Ukraine situation, the US has to date, and it's probably even more that we don't know about, given more than $20 billion to Ukraine with weapons aid and everything, and more to be forthcoming shortly, while the US is struggling to look after her own, to handle its own internal problems financially, to sort out the crisis happening at the moment in country. $20 billion given away to the Ukraine conflict, with more coming. And then if you look at Ukraine, I mean, there was a story in the last week. They were given specific weapons and told, please don't use this anywhere near Russia's borders, because that will be antagonistic and quite possibly drag NATO into the war. And the first thing they did was went and used it on Russian soil. It's almost like Zelensky's trying to force everybody into war to start this World War III truck rolling. And the rest of NATO is holding back and hoping it won't come to this. But We'll see, because we know where this train stops and where it ends and where it's heading ultimately. And then the last thing I really want to point out to you is the Pope had his birthday now in the last few days. He's turned 86 years old. Now, that's interesting because, 80 years, 70, 80 years, biblical. He's turned 86, which means he's old. They've admitted he's got health issues, apparently, and there's always the possibility he'll step down, as he signed his resignation letter in 2012 or 2013 already for whenever they want to use it. Most Catholics around the world believe the prophecy internally, their own prophecy, that he is the final Pope that will see the end of days arrive. Now, I happen to think he's a very strong contender for the false prophet. Now, if he's 86 years old already, how much longer do you think he's going to be around? And you need him to be around for the next 7 years to do his thing, which he's been prepping for all this time, and to help finalize all these things, the Abrahamic house, the one world religion, everything, and to build up and push all this love and adoration towards Antichrist, and to finalize all their dreams, Agenda 2030, and everything they have planned against true believers and the Jews. So it's interesting. I would definitely use that as a major sign too, that this man's already 86. The clock's ticking, and he's got 7 odd years left to do what he needs to do. So it's interesting, and it's worth watching. It points to just how little time is left. I can't picture him at 95 or 100 doing anything significant for the beast system. But yeah, right now he's still good to go. And it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he gets miraculously healed. We'll see. And then works wonders for the beast and false miracles. We don't know. So yes, it feels late, and it feels like he's tarrying, taking his time. But every moment and every day that we're still here, every day that it seems that he tarries, he's giving an opportunity for one more sheepy to be saved. And every single one of us should be doing everything within our abilities to spread the word and the love of Jesus Christ, so that we can reach those sheepies that might be snatched from what's lying ahead. We will persist. We won't give up. We won't desist. We won't stop. We won't stand back. We'll shine our lights brightly until the Holy Spirit takes us to our new home. Because you know what? If you look at another comparison, in the beginning, there was Adam, and he needed a bride that was taken from his side, and God brought him his bride and said, there you go, from your side, flesh of your flesh, here's your bride. In the same way, from Jesus' side, his bride is born, and the Holy Spirit has been preparing his bride and getting her ready, and he's going to go and present his bride to him at the rapture very shortly. So imminence is where I'm living at the moment. I know there's many high watch dates, specifically now through Hanukkah, but for me, it's imminence. At any single moment, we could hear the trumpet. God bless. Keep watching. Stay faithful. Pray for each other. I love the way you guys are supporting each other in the comments, praying with each other. That is the way the body is supposed to be. We're here to give each other hope. And that is what we're going to do until we're on the other side together. God bless. Shalom.